I'm Steve, this is Fran. Today we're going to talk about affordable luxury appliances. We did luxury, for the Sub-Zeros and everything else. But what if you want just a nice looking kitchen and you don't want to spend $30,000? In this video, we're going to talk about the brands that, you can spend, say between $5,000 and $12,000 to get a really good looking coordinated appliances, with counter depth refrigerator, front control, range, quiet dishwasher, and some kind of over the range microwave, even though we don't recommend that, or hood, some kind of combination where you walk in the kitchen, it's really well coordinated. And that's what we're gonna do right now. Let's start. Where are we starting?
All right, so we're gonna talk about kind of high overviews of brands. And let's start with Samsung.
Samsung, very innovative. They do really, in terms of style, we all should thank Samsung for introducing style in appliances. Before it was like boxes, No one ever thought of like style in a kitchen except on the super high end, especially on just wall ovens and cooktops. But Samsung totally changed that. Nice soft edges, good looking appliances, very innovative. They got the family hub where it's the Android computer on your refrigerator. Flex Duo, 2 ovens in one.
Yeah. Cool features like even the bespoke and the refrigerator, the very divisive bespoke and the
people hate me for this bespoke. You don't put your refrigerator in the middle of your kitchen. It's stove and sink in the middle of your kitchen if you're really worried about flow. But the new bespoke I like because now you can upload a picture and put that on your front. Yeah. Is that even out yet?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. But in terms of innovation, it's good. I think they may tend to over-innovate a little bit, like the water wall.
Yeah.
On the dishwasher, even the Flex Duo that I just mentioned, it can't get the temperature on many of the common temperatures you would use. The family hub is great, but we're going to use our phones still.
Yeah, they're definitely a tech company that sells appliances for sure, so they incorporate a lot of that in there. Some of it useful, some of it not so much.
They were on the forefront of black stainless, which you shouldn't buy. But one thing they've done really well is white. White was the premium color when I started in '86. Now it's come back, and they do a really nice job with that. In terms of innovation, I would say, the problem with Samsung they mentioned is they're so popular. The number one most popular appliance sold in the US, the number one brand, is the support is nowhere near to that. So you really got to worry about, if you're going to buy it, where's it going to be fixed? And that could be said for a lot of other brands, except for maybe G, because they offer their own service. So from innovation, they're an S. They're as good as they come by in terms of service and support. They're a C, if that. I would say strong B, low A.
Yeah. For sure, and like we always say, like we recommend often here is, you definitely want to buy from someone that services the appliances. You definitely get a much better experience.
Or whoever does a good job locally that fixes whatever brand. And it varies by area, whether you're, we're in Boston, if you're in California, New York, it certainly will vary.
All right, let's talk about KitchenAid.
KitchenAid, great brand, owned by the Whirlpool company. Their new dishwashers are good. They've got a real quiet one, and they've got a really fully functional one, and a kind of an unusual mix of products. But everything else to me is now I'm going to mention Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi's come a long way where you have the recipe tie-ins. You've got cameras that will look in. You can look in and see your food. There's a certain value to that, but not having it says a lot about investment back into the product for me. I don't think their ranges have changed much. I think the refrigerators need to be addressed. You're talking about really the most popular being single compressor, not twin compressor, which shouldn't cost you all that more. Single compressor, single evaporator versus twin evaporators. I apologize. I think the dishwashers are an A. Everything else is probably a C and needs to be refreshed. Overall, style's okay with the red little knob on the back. I'd give it a B.
Yeah, cooking is definitely a little dated. The ranges have a cool baking drawer in the bottom on some of the models where you can kind of use it as similar.
Sure. And they've got the big, they get the big capacity, but it hasn't really changed in terms of controls and intuitiveness.
And refrigeration, like you said, in counter depth, you really kind of step up to a much more expensive model to get something that's more comparable to other brands. Their kind of entry-level counter depth is, a little bit outdated there as well, for sure. So I agree there.
Yeah, B?
Yep, let's go with the B. All right, next we're going to talk about LG and the LG Studio line.
And the SKS. And I think in terms of who won during the pandemic, these guys won during the pandemic because they make more of the components than anybody else. They're more reliable as a line than most everybody else. And no, I'm not paid to say that. We only report numbers. Where they really struck gold is their counter max.
Yeah.
Where you can get a counter depth refrigerator that's like almost 27 cubic feet. I mean, that's huge for counter depth. Now, the downside is 1 inch thicker on the door. So if you're putting on the end, you want to be mindful of that. But now they get I think they have 5 counter max refrigerators where you get the InstaView, you tap it twice and you can see inside. It's got
external dispenser.
External dispenser, They've got a good line of refrigeration. We're not talking about laundry. Their laundry's the best. Their stoves with induction are really reliable. I don't think the edges on the stove are as nice as Samsung, but in terms of reliability, there's no question. It's a better line.
Yeah, and if you step up to that studio line, which is really a great value for what it gives, a really nice look. And if you're looking like built-in, like cooktops, wall ovens, I think the studio is probably the best value for the money that you get out there.
Yeah, and their dishwashers use steam. They've got a steam generator in the front. Does very well in our tests.
Yeah.
And is the most reliable dishwasher, and as a line, very reliable. This is to me is a notch below in style to Samsung, but way better in reliability and way better in functionality. This is to me is either an S or an A.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Studio a lot. I would absolutely go with at least a high A there.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, next let's talk about GE and their Café and Profile lines.
I like Café. And I think people should look at it because it's different.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we're talking about here, with the exception of, a line you shouldn't buy and another line that's got limited. This one's got the 3 colors, white, which is now the new premium color. It's got black, and then you got 6 handle styles. So you could put black and copper, which is nice. We show it in our showrooms in white and brass, which is very New England-y. And I like it because it's different. And I think people want different. And, we sell Blue Star, which is a premium range, and 75% of the people are custom color. I think you want different. I mean, this is one of the only lines that do it and do it affordably. And they've got some decent features on their dishwashers. They've got the Keurig dispenser, their range on their refrigerator where you can get coffee as well. You get your double ovens in induction and in gas with the largest capacity. But here's the thing. If you're not going with colors and a handle style, you're really buying a profile. And you can buy the profile in a lot of ways with a few less features for a lot less money. So Café for colors and, differentiated features, but the profile is really a nice line in stainless, with, just some less functionality. What do you think?
That was good. You covered pretty much
all of it. Talking too much.
No, that was good. That was excellent. You got all of it there. I would add, if you're looking at built-in wall ovens too, in the Café line, you kind of get that French door style, which you don't get really a lot. And some of the higher end, like a Blue Star, you get it, but you don't really see that in kind of that affordable luxury. So I really like Café. It gives you something different, some cool colors with the matte black, the matte white. We've had some in the showrooms too. We've mixed some of those kind of handles, like we did the black handles with the matte black. So there's some really cool ways that you can kind of personalize it to some degree there. So
I like the black and copper.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think I go with an A overall.
High.
Yeah.
All right, you get the next one. I talked too much that one.
Well, the next one's Bertazzoni. So, not necessarily a brand that, personally, I don't have a ton of experience. We don't really sell it here. We talk a lot about that style, that pro style, European, Italian style range. And it's definitely out there more as a look, not necessarily a lot of function and performance. You kind of get that nice counter depth look in the range that's not sticking out from your counters, but the capacity is really small. We always talk about the power on those burners that are just really low, especially when you're, never mind comparing them to a pro range, you compare them to a Samsung, an LG, a KitchenAid, anybody that we've really talked to, really low power there as well. So I think you can get a lot more value in other brands than if you're looking at something like a Bertazzoni.
Well, the only thing you could do about a Bertazzoni, now they have a full line, and I'm just wondering where they're sourcing all their stuff from, because it's primarily a range company. And again, when you talk about their ranges, you get, even on their professional, you get one or two, you get the big burner, and then you get simmer burners, really. It goes high to low. Functionality-wise, I just don't think this is it. Yeah. However, if you're going to buy one, this is perfect for like a builder or someone who wants to flip a house and wants to put. The one thing that Italians do really well, Italian companies, is the stuff looks great. It doesn't perform very well, whether you talk about Smeg or any of the other 6 Italian names that are coming into the market, but they look beautiful. They're just beautiful products that you regret if you really cook on them. That's that I can say. And you're going to regret if you need them fixed. But from a look standpoint, it's kind of like a museum piece. Don't touch the painting, I mean, but yeah, I think we could do, if you're looking for colors, you're flipping your house, definitely. For everything else, it's a C.
Listen, as an Italian, there's some compliments there. I'm both offended, but there's a nice compliment there too. So, but I completely agree on the brands, no question about it. We talk about that all the time. That's all right. Listen, I've come to take that with the Italian brands around here. So, so what do you think? C?
C.
Okay.
C.
Next, let's go with Electrolux.
Electrolux at one time did a great job. They started with nothing. They built a brand with very modern styling. And some functionality. They had the first with the turkey button and the proof button and all this other stuff. But they haven't changed that style in 20 years. And I just don't think it's price point, price-wise, style-wise, what was modern, and again, it's just my opinion because we haven't sold it in a while, to be transparent. But I just think people can do better than this.
Yeah, low capacity or small capacity really in their ovens as well. And it's, they've almost put better features in some of their Frigidaire Pro line, which is less expensive. Yeah.
Frigidaire Pro's decent. Yeah. On this one, I would say, C.
Let's go with a C. So next, let's talk about Fisher Paykel. A unique line for sure.
Yeah, Fisher Paykel is what we did in luxury. Now it's affordable luxury. They do a nice job. Again, you've got red, black, white, and stainless. They do a nice job of that. Their stuff's got an edge. I think people kind of like it because it's unique. And I think a lot of people, if you're looking for a unique product, this is a decent product. I think it's probably on the upper end, even for their affordable luxury line. But it's decent. It's got some functionality. I like their drawers because you don't have to bend as much. If you don't use as much, you can always just, use just that top drawer. I think their stoves are decent. Yeah. The refrigeration is counter depth. It's very edgy, somewhat expensive for the cubic footage you get. But I think it's kind of like a nice urban line. I see it as empty nester or first purchase. It's very decent, but kind of expensive for what it is.
Yeah, definitely kind of on the higher end of the affordable luxury. But if you're looking for maybe a larger induction range, a 36-inch range or a 36-inch gas range, they do a really good job there. Definitely a lower price point than some of the other Pro lines that are doing a 36-inch. And then, the counter depth refrigeration. But if you're looking to maybe enter that kind of built-in integrated refrigeration space and not spend $12,000, you can get a nice 36x72 integrated refrigerator there that looks really, really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to panel something, KitchenAid has one, but the door sticks out, so it looks like someone pasted a door on it. But this is really nice. It's nice and seamless.
Not the look,
and you're not spending a fortune for it. I think this is a strong B line.
For sure.
It's something you should consider. It's not for everybody, certainly.
Yeah, depending on where you're comparing them, I'd definitely put them in as a low A, strong B for sure. And they're very flexible. Obviously, as we've kind of put them into luxury, affordable luxury, you can kind of go a lot of different ways with them. So, all right. Next, we're going to end it with Bosch.
Bosch. This is a really interesting company. I mean, this is a dishwasher company that just kind of blundered into other products, it seems. But one thing I like about this is their induction is very reliable.
Definitely.
Their induction is the most reliable of all of them. And whether we're talking about ranges or cooktops, I think their refrigerators, the twin compressor story, which is kind of the same as Sub-Zero in terms of twin compressor, totally different fridges. That's a decent fridge too, although it's small. When we talk about 21 cubic feet versus the Counter Max at 26.5. Limited line, great dishwashers, good overall value, But again, how many? You're only buying one appliance. You don't need like, LG's got like 20 or 30 stoves. Bosch has got 2, but you only buy one, so that should be fine.
Yeah.
It's provided that's the one you want. What do you think?
Yeah, overall, really phenomenal dishwashers. The refrigeration is really nice. Induction in general, they do a really nice job with the top. Some cool like heat shift features in some of their brands, some of their models rather. Cooktops in general, I'd say are really good. Their gas cooktops are really good. I think cooking is definitely where they're a little behind maybe some of the others. They could definitely use an upgrade in wall ovens and ovens in general. Overall, I'd say the good solid line.
Yeah, it's decent. It's the most limited of what it is, but once again, you're only buying one. So this is either a low A or strong B for me. In terms of dishwashers, it's an S or an A.
Yeah.
In terms of induction, it's really one you should consider because it's reliable. For everything else, the refrigerator might be kind of small, but still very decent. I'd say low A, strong B.
Sounds good.
What do you think?
Low A? Strong
Low
B?
A. What do you think?
Strong B.
Strong B.
Let's go. All right, so that's the last one.
All right, that's it for us. If you like the ranking videos, hit the subscribe, be notified first, and thanks for watching.